Hi everyone, my name is Mary and welcome back to Quinique. Today in this video we are going to be crocheting the ice cream sandwich purse. Okay, so this is what it looks like. It actually looks like a nice cool little ice cream sandwich. Then you also have a zipper and it's really nice and big on the inside. You can put a lot of stuff in there. And then you have a really long strap so you can put it around your shoulder. So this will be more of a shoulder bag. Let me see if I can find some tape measure real quick. Okay, so I have the tape measure, so I'll measure the bag for you. So the width of the bag is going to be 12 inches, okay? And then the length of the bag is going to be, let's take a look, 7.5 inches, okay? 7.5 to about 8 inches, okay? And your strap is going to be pretty long, so we'll be connecting it on this side right here. So I'll measure that for you. So it looks like it's going to be about 48 inches. And then we'll be connecting it right here on this side. Okay, so there will be a lot of sewing. As you can see, we're going to sew the bag and we're also going to sew the zipper. Okay, so now that you know that the strap is 48, it's 12 inches wide by 7.5 inches in length. Okay, it is going to be a side purse. It's actually really cute, so hopefully you like it. So let's get started with the tools and how to make this. Okay, so the tools that you're going to need for your ice cream sandwich purse is a crochet hook, 5.5 millimeter. You're going to need pins and you're going to need yarn. And the yarn that I have, this one is called Mainstays. It's 100% acrylic yarn, and this one is going to be in white. Okay, it doesn't even show a name, but this is white. You can also use red heart as well, and you're not going to need very much of it, even though this says 7 ounces and 397 yards. You're going to need like way less than that. The next yarn that you'll also need is going to be called Red Heart Super Saver Jumbo. This one is 14 ounces and 744 yards. This is in the color coffee, or any brown yarn that you can find. You're not going to need very much of that either. The very last thing you're going to need is a zipper. Now I have 3 colors here that you can choose from. You can do white, brown, or black. And the one that I'm going to do is white. And it's called Coats and Clark's. It's all-purpose zipper. It's polyester. It's 7 inches by 18 centimeters. You're not going to need a very long zipper. I got this one from Walmart for $1. So hopefully that helps for getting a zipper. You can also get these from Joann's as well. They're a little bit more expensive, but you only need about a 7-inch zipper. Okay, so let's get to starting our ice cream sandwich bag. Alrighty, so in order to start our ice cream sandwich purse, you're going to need to make the cookie portion, is what I like to call it. And this is what the cookie portion looks like. So make sure you have your white yarn and your coffee yarn ready. Okay, so I'm going to put this off to the side. So let's start with the coffee color first. We're going to make a slip knot first. That's what we're first going to do. Come on. And what we're going to do is a foundation, put your yarn onto your hook, foundation half double crochet of 22. Okay, so what we're going to do is going to yarn over and make a chain, pull up a little bit so that we have enough room for your chain, yarn over and make a second chain. Okay, and then you're going to yarn over and go back into that very first stitch. Then you're going to grab your working yarn and pull up a loop. 3 loops on your hook. 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and only pull through that very first loop to make a chain. and then yarn over and pull through all 3 to make a half double crochet. Now remember, you're always going to be working on the bottom of your work, so we'll do that again. Yarn over, go back into that very first chain that you just made, okay, yarn over and pull through 3 loops, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through the first loop to make a chain, yarn over and pull through all 3 to make a half double crochet. I am now going to make 22 of these, and I'll be back shortly. So I made 21 foundation half double crochets, and I have one more to make. So yarn over, go back into your stitch, grab your working yarn and pull up a loop, grab your working yarn and pull through that first loop to make a chain, grab your working yarn and pull through all 3 to make a half double, chain 1, and flip your work upwards. Now that you've made that first row, for our second row, all we're going to be doing is half double crochets into every stitch. So yarn over, go into that very first stitch, grab your working yarn and pull up a loop. Grab your working yarn and pull through all 3. If I didn't already mention it before, which I should have, you will be making 2 of these, so that way you will have a front and you will have a back. So since I already made 1, I'm on my second one. So I will meet you back once I have put 1 half double crochet into every stitch all the way to the end, and I'll meet you right back here in just a few moments. Alright, so I have 1 more half double crochet to finish off row number 2. Alright, so there we go. That's what it looks like. And one thing I also forgot to mention, which I always do, just kidding. We are going to be repeating row 3 and row 4. Okay, so here we go. So now we're on to row 3. So now you will chain 1 and turn your work. Make sure you have your white yarn ready. So I'm going to make a slip knot for this white yarn so that way it's ready to go when I need it. And I'm going to show you how row 3 and row 4 are going to go. So here's row 3. Chain 1, turn your work, and put 3 double crochets into the next 3 stitches. That's right, we're doing double crochets now. We're not doing half double crochets, okay? So yarn over, go into your stitch, grab your working yarn and pull up a loop, grab your working yarn and pull through 2, grab your working yarn and pull through 2. So I decided to do the half double crochets for the bottom of the cookie, and then double crochets to insinuate these little white little ice creams in the middle. Okay, I know that's not what an ice cream sandwich looks like, but that's how I pictured it. Okay, so now that you have 3 double crochets made, we're going to, let me back this one up real quick. So for the 3rd double crochet, because this is where we're going to join our white yarn, you're going to yarn over, go into your stitch, grab your working yarn and pull up a loop. And then you're going to yarn over and only pull through 2 of those loops. Put your brown yarn down, grab your white yarn, put it onto your hook, and pull through both loops to finish that double crochet. Now we're going to grab our white yarn tail, that's right, yarn tail, and brown yarn, and what we're going to do is we're going to make a double knot. Now if you watched my Batman series, you know that I did this a lot. Okay, so now what we're going to do is you're going to carry that brown yarn with you for the next 3 double crochet back loops only. That's right, we're going to now do 3 double crochets in the back loops. So yarn over, do not go into this loop. You will go into this loop in the back, if you can see that. Grab your working yarn and pull up a loop. And as you can see, I have my brown yarn going in between the stitches. Yarn over and yarn over. You're going to do that for 3 stitches. So yarn over, go into that back loop, grab your working yarn and pull up a loop, grab your working yarn, pull through 2, grab your working yarn and pull through 2. last one is where we're going to change back to the coffee or the brown yarn. Go into that back loop, grab your working yarn and pull up a loop, grab your working yarn and pull through 2. Now I'm going to put the white yarn in the back and I'm going to grab the brown yarn and pull on it slightly so that way it tightens a little bit. Yarn over and pull through both loops. Okay? Now we're going to carry the white yarn with us for 3 stitches. So make sure your white yarn is in the middle. Yarn over, and yarn over. 3 double crochets. Now remember, it's actually 2 double crochets, and then on the 3rd double crochet you will do, I call it like a half of a double crochet because you'll only put it through 2 loops. Put your brown yarn behind you, pick up your white yarn, pull on it slightly, yarn over and finish that double crochet. And then we're going to carry that yarn with us and we're going to do 3 double crochets in the back loop only. Okay, just like that. That's 2. And here comes the 3rd one. So remember, on the 3rd one you'll only go through 2 loops, drop your yarn, pick up the next yarn, yarn over and finish it off. Then pick up that yarn that you just put behind you and double crochet it into the work with you. And we'll do this until we get 3 double crochets to the end. So you should have 3 double crochets left once you get to that end point. So we'll carry that yarn with us. This will be row number 3. Sorry, my yarn's getting a little tight. And then I'm going to pick up my white yarn. And then I'm going to yarn over and finish off that double crochet. Pull on it a little bit. Yarn over, go into that back loop and make a double crochet. And your yarn will get a little tight as it twists and turns. And always remember, in that 3rd stitch, this is where you'll do like a half double crochet, drop that yarn, pick up the next yarn, yarn over and finish off that double crochet. Now we have, looks like 4 stitches before the end, and that's okay, that's going to happen. According to this one, it looks like we had 3 stitches. Oh well, that's okay. So we had 4 left. 1, 2, 3, 4, yep. So what we're going to do is you're going to drop that white yarn now, since we're 4 stitches to the end, and you're just going to double crochet into those last 4 stitches. It should have been 3 stitches, but that's okay. So what we can do to alleviate this is yarn over. We're going to do a double crochet decrease, 2 together. So you'll do that half. So I'll do that again. So you yarn over, go into your stitch, grab your working yarn, pull up a loop, grab your working yarn and pull through 2, yarn over, go back into that next stitch, grab your working yarn and pull up a loop, grab your working yarn and pull through 2. Now you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. And I normally wouldn't do that, but because we need those 3 stitches, I just figured we would just decrease. Must have made an extra stitch. So that is what row number 3 looks like. Next we'll be working on row number 4. Okay, so we're now working on round number 4, and this will also be a repeat row. So you're going to chain 1 and turn your work. Now this row is going to be a little bit different. This will be the chocolate row. So this is your ice cream and chocolate, and then the top one's going to be like your chocolate cookie row. So for this one, you're just going to double crochet. You're going to use the brown yarn now. You're not going to use anything with the white yarn. You're just going to double crochet into the next 3 stitches. Okay. And when we get to this white portion, we're going to pick up this white yarn and we're going to carry it with us all the way through the work. So that way we don't have to keep cutting it off and reattaching it. And for this white row, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to do front loop only. So you will go into that very front loop right there, not in the back loop. So you'll pull your work and you'll turn it towards you where you see these V stitches. So we were working in the back loops on row 3. For row 4, we're going to be working in the front loops. Make sure to pull your white yarn up and put it on top of your work. You want to carry that with you. And how you know you got into the very front loop is when you pull it up, you will see the back loop right in the back, that little stitch right there. Okay, and so we'll just double crochet now into the coffee color while we are pulling this wonderful white yarn with us. And you will do it in the front loops on the white section, and then in the brown section you will do it all just in regular double crochet. So you go under both bars right there, okay? No front or back loops. And what that'll do is it'll create that ice cream look where it looks like it's kind of like inside of the cookie. Okay, and so you'll do this all the way to the end for row number 4. Okay, so front loops for the white section. And if you want to, you can hold on to it like I'm doing, so that way it doesn't pull up too much on your yarn. Okay, and then once you get, and make sure that white yarn is still coming with you and it's in between your stitches, as you can see, like it's a white filling. This one is going to be both bars, so just regular double crochets. So this one will just be regular double crochets. And we're almost there, we're at the very end. And then this will be the front loop, don't forget. Okay, so once you get to this portion right here, you can now drop your white yarn, because you're going to be picking this back up when you get to row number 5, because that will you will be repeating row number 3 for row number 5. Okay, and then you'll just double crochet into the next 3 stitches to the end. Okay, and right there will end your row number, your row number 4. Had to think about it for a moment. Okay, so at this point I'm going to let you go. I'm going to do 15 rounds of this, repeating rows 3 and row 4. Okay, so remember, row 3 is going to be back loop and the white, and row 4 is going to be the front loop and you carrying your white yarn with you. And you'll do that throughout your whole entire work. And it will still look really good. So as you can see for this one, okay, so this is kind of like the front piece. You can kind of see like the ice cream is kind of like sucked into the cookie and trying to come through. And then when you look at it from the back portion, you'll see these white pieces of yarn. This is where I had to put it through my work and then bring it back through, so that way I could do row 3 again. Okay, so then you'll just do that, and this will also be your back side as well. So this will be your reverse, and then this will be your front side. Okay, so I will see you back on row number 15. Alright, I'm back, and I know I said I would meet you on row number 15. I'm not. I'm on row number 8. I forgot to mention one more thing. I am actually on I'm on row number 4 of the repeat. And I'm coming up on the very end, so I had to bring my yarn, my white yarn, all the way through my work. Now, one thing I completely forgot to mention is, when you get to this point and you're working on this type of row, the best way to know where to drop your yarn is if you flip your work and you see these white lines going through your work. This is going to be the side you're going to want to drop your yarn to, so that way this will be your reverse side, because if not, this piece will go on the other side and you'll have a bunch of lines going through. If you don't mind those lines and you don't care which side is reverse, then I would say don't worry about it. But yeah, so when I get to this point, I'm just going to drop it in the back of my work. Now there's going to be times where you'll be crocheting, and as you are working, excuse me, you will be, these lines will be on this side as you're coming across. And so then you'll drop it in the front. Okay, so that was something I wanted to mention. The other thing I wanted to mention was how many of these you will be making to know that you have gotten to row number 15. So we're going to put that down for a moment, and I'm going to open this up. And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So you're going to make 7 of these little ice creams, and that should be row number 15, I believe. And then this is 16, and that one is going to be 17. So I will meet you on this last row once I've gotten to row number 15, and I will show you how to do 16 and 17. Okay, so be back shortly. Alright, so I am back, and I made it to row number 15. I left off on row number 3 is what it is. That would be the ice cream row is what I like to call it. Okay, so for row number 16, we're just going to chain 1, and we're going to turn our work. And row number 16 is actually going to be a repeat of row number 4. So that's where you would just double crochet into the coffee color. Okay, and once you get to the white color or the ice cream, that's where we would take our ice cream and we would put it on top like this and move it over, so that way our next row we could do the ice cream row. But this is our last row, so I ended up cutting my yarn because I'm done. I'm not going to take that with me. So for this row, all I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the front loop of the white yarn, and we're going to make that pattern again. Okay, so remember, row number 16 is just a repeat of row number 4. Okay, so I'm going to finish this real quick, and then I will meet you at the end. Okay, be back shortly. Alright, so we are finished with row number 16. I just have one more stitch. Okay, so there we go. That is row number 16. Now for row number 17, which will be our last row, you're just going to chain 1, and you're going to turn your work. And all we're going to do is just half double crochet into every single stitch, all the way to the end. Just like this. Half double crochet into every single stitch until you get to the end. Okay, and I will meet right back up with you at the end of row number 17, and then we'll get started on the ice cream. Alright, so I am back, and I have one more stitch for row number 17. So there we go, that finishes off row number 17. And then all you gotta do is grab your scissors. So let's grab those real quick and cut your yarn. Don't forget to sew your strings in. Yarn over and pull through. So this is what your cookies are going to look like. Now remember, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the white ice creams, and then 3 in the middle. Okay, so you want to make sure you make 2 of these. So you have a top and you have a bottom. And yes, you're going to hear my husband snoring. It's been snowing, so he's a little tired and is taking a late nap. Okay, so make sure you have 2 of those. Once you have 2 of those, put put those off to the side. And now we're going to start what I like to call the ice cream. It's going to be the white part in the middle in between our cookies. Okay, to make that ice cream sandwich. But we're going to do it in a little bit different way because we want to make sure that we actually have enough room to put our zipper. So we're going to want to make sure that we have 2 white pieces like this going around the zipper, so that way we can sew the zipper to the white piece, and that way it can be a bag. So when you open your zipper, you will have a nice opening like this to get into it. Now you can also skip the zipper part. The best thing you can do with your white part is make sure that you just leave an opening like this, as wide as you would like it, and then you would just put like a couple of buttons. So you can do that if you'd like. I figured I'd try a zipper method. Okay, so to start the ice cream middle, this one's going to be pretty easy. We are going to chain 2 with your white yarn, make a slip knot and chain 2. Okay, now we're going to do a foundation half double crochet. So you're going to yarn over, go back into that first chain that you made from the previous round, grab your working yarn and pull up a loop. Make sure your loops are nice and loose. Yarn over through that first loop to make a chain, and then yarn over all 3 to make a half double crochet. I'll do that again. So that first stitch right here, you're going to yarn over and go right into it. So it's that chain that you just made. Yarn over and pull through. Make sure your chains are nice and loose. Yarn over and only pull through that first loop to make a chain, and yarn over and pull through all 5. We are going to make 5 half double crochets. So I just made 2.
There's 3. There's 4. And this one is going to be 5. Okay. Whoops, there's 5.
Okay, and now remember, when you're doing your foundation half double crochets, you're always working on the bottom. So you want to chain 1 and then flip your work upwards. So now you're working into the chain stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now half double crochet is a little funky. So when you look at it, it looks like this is a stitch on the side and there's a stitch on the top. You always want to go for the stitches on the top. Half double crochets always make this extra stitch, so I kind of want to avoid that. Sometimes you will go into that, and that's fine, it happens. I did it for years. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to half double crochet into every stitch until you get to the end, and then chain 1, half double crochet until you get to the end, and you will do this for a total of 50 rows. Okay, that's how long I felt it would be, or I felt that's how long I needed my ice cream to be in order for it to go all the way, all from the, I think I started from at the top here, okay, and then I went all the way around and then back up to this part right here to the top of the ice cream, the cookie. So when we put this ice cream on, where'd it go? It's right here. The ice cream is actually going to be standing up like this, okay? But it'll go this way because it'll be longer. And it'll be standing up like this all the way around, and you'll pin it down here. So we'll sew this first onto one of the cookies, and then we'll sew it onto the second cookie. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to half double crochet until I have 50 of these little, 50 of these rows, and then I will meet right back up with you, and then I will show you what to do next. Alrighty, I will see you shortly. Alrighty, I am back. I have one more stitch and that will make 50 rows. This is how long your ice cream is going to be. Okay, I felt that's how long it was, and so that way it could go around the ice cream like this. Okay, so once you have reached your 50 rows, which took me a little while to make, now we are going to make the pieces that are going to go onto our zipper. Okay, and to make those pieces, they're going to be a little different. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1, and we're going to turn our work, and you're going to half double crochet into that very first stitch, just like this. Okay, and then you're going to chain 1 and turn that work again and half double crochet into that very first stitch that you made. And you're going to keep doing this until you make 17 of these. Okay, so I already made 2. And here's 3. And this will be wide enough so that way, my yarn keeps coming up on me. So that'll be wide enough onto the zipper like this. Okay, see how that goes? So we will be sewing this onto the zipper and the bag itself. And I am going to sew it right here, so that way at least it doesn't keep getting caught onto your crochet or onto my crochet. Okay, so that's how we're going to do it. So I will meet you back when I have 17 of these. Alright, I am back and I made 16. I just need to chain 1 and make 1 more half double crochet, just like that. When you have made your 17 half double crochets, pull out your crochet hook and untwist your 17 half double crochets like this. You want to make sure they're nice and straight. Now you're going to take your little ice cream, make sure it's straight as well, and go to the very beginning of your ice cream. So make sure it's straight like this. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to put that very first stitch that we made, and we're going to put it up against this stitch right here. Put your crochet hook back onto your yarn like this. Apologize. Pull your yarn tight out. Got twisted. Put your hook back onto there. Pull your yarn nice and tight. Okay. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put it back into that very first stitch like this. And then you're going to grab your working yarn like this, and you're going to pull through all those stitches to slip stitch. Okay, and then when you lay it nice and flat, a little bit hard to do, apologize, I don't really have a very big desk. There we go. So when you lay it nice and flat, if I can get all the yarn all the way. Okay, this is what it'll look like. Okay, nice and flat. Okay. And so now with that slip stitched, you're going to turn your work like this to where this piece is now going to be facing you. So now that we have slip stitched, okay, now we are going to slip stitch all the way until we get to that very first stitch. So yarn over and pull through and pull through. Go into your stitch, yarn over, pull through, and pull through. One more time. And into that stitch right there, we're going to slip stitch, chain 1, and half double crochet right into that stitch. Okay, and then we're going to do the same exact thing that we did on this side. Now we're going to make 17 stitches. Okay, so on this side you're going to do that again. You're going to chain 1, turn your work, and double crochet back into that stitch, chain 1, turn your work, half double crochet back into that stitch. make 17 of these, and I will be back when I've made 17. So far I just made 3. Be back shortly. Alright, so I made it back. I made 16 stitches. Now I'm going to chain 1, turn, and I'm going to make my 17th stitch. Okay? Make sure that your stitches are not, I apologize for that, are not twisted. Every time I record, he gets louder. I don't know why. Maybe he likes it when I record, I don't know. Okay, so we're going to get that ready. So now, guess what we're going to do? We're going to take it back to this again, and we're going to slip stitch into that very last stitch right there. Okay. So I'm going to try and grab my yarn. I'm sorry if it's very difficult for you to see. I grab this, and I'm just going to put my hook onto that very first stitch, have my hook onto the stitch with the half double crochets. I'm going to yarn over and pull through just like that. Yep. I got twisted very quickly. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slip stitch to the other side to make sure it's nice and secure. Just like we did on the other side. And then I am going to slip stitch into this last stitch as well. Just like that. Okay, so now I'm going to cut my yarn off. And I'm going to yarn over and pull through and pull through. And this is what you should have. Whoop, I don't know what that was. This is what you should have so far. Okay? And that is going to go on our bag. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my tomato and some pins, and I'm going to show you how to pin one side of it right here to our cookies. Alrighty, so I'll be back shortly. Alright, we are back. So I have the ice cream filling, the cookie, and the zipper. We're going to put the zipper off to the side for just right now. And I also have my pins in the background. Okay, so in order to start this, I'm hoping you can see this. You're going to take your ice cream and kind of like fold it around your cookie like this. Okay, that's what you're going to do. Okay, and the best way to do this is because the bag is going to be sideways. What I ended up doing was I ended up starting on the side here and kind of like folding my work like this, grabbing a pin and then just quickly pinning it. So we kind of want an edge right here is what we want. So we don't want the cookies, we don't want the ice cream to be close to the edge like this. We kind of want it to be a little bit further away from the edge. Here, I'll zoom in. So we kind of want it to be pretty much like right on this half double crochet edge right here. Okay, hopefully you can see that. And so all I'm doing is I'm going to flatten it and then I'm going to pin it. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do is flatten it and then pin it. Okay, and I'm going to pin it all the way around the cookies. Excuse me, the cookie, because we're only using one right now. Okay, so you kind of want this, see how there's a little bit of an edge where it's coming out? That's kind of what we want, because that's what ice cream sandwiches are. They kind of have like this little edge that comes out, and it's not completely, see that, how it comes out? So that's what we're looking for. When you do the side ones, I just put my pin in and then I just move it in like that. And when you get to the side right here, the best way to do this is so when there's 2 double crochets here, you want to put it on the second double crochet. That's what I was doing, was putting it on the second double crochet like this. So that way we still keep that edge that goes all the way around. Okay, and so I'm just going to pin it just like this all the way around. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab our needle and our thread, and then we're going to sew it all the way around. I know that needle's bent. That's okay. It can be bent. And then when I got here, I just grabbed, when I got here, I just grabbed a pin like this. And then try not to poke yourself. Sorry, I hope you can see this. I'm trying to make sure to get this into the camera so you guys can see it better. And here, maybe if I move my light, you might be able to see it better. And then we're along the side again. And so what I did is I skipped the double crochet row right here, and I put it on the, whoa, I put that up too high. So this is the double crochet row right here where my fingers are. Down here is the half double crochet. So that is where I'm putting my ice cream, is just above that half double crochet row. Okay, there we go. Grab another pin and just pin it. And then I just keep moving around. And there are going to be spots where your ice cream might be a little bit, what's that word? Have like more yarn on it to where it's bulging like this. I wouldn't really worry about that, just pin it. Because when you sew it, you'll have less bulge. Okay, so hopefully that works. That's what it's going to look like. Okay, because I pinned it all the way around. Everything's nice and pinned. And then what we'll do is we're also going to pin this piece right here as well. Now when we sew this part, I'll show you a technique to where it'll stand up like this, and you'll just sew it in that first like part down here. Here, I'm going to zoom in. So this little part right here is where you're going to be sewing it, not the whole stitch. So what you'll do is you'll just flatten it like this. You'll just flatten it like this, and then you'll just put your needles in. Sorry, it's been really cold out, and today it's snowing, so I've had a lot of mucus. And I like to use the big bulbousy pins so I can see them. Now if you need to, you can put as many pins as you want on this. Okay, so now that it's pinned, what we're going to do is we're going to grab our needle and our sewing thread. So I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, so I'm back, and this is how much thread I have. And I double threaded it. Okay, I always do. Makes it more secure. Now, a suggestion I'm going to tell you is don't have too much thread, okay? I know you want to sew the whole entire thing in one go, but sometimes this thread can knot very easily and be more painful than be a more painful experience when you're sewing. So when we're sewing this, we can start anywhere. You can start along here if you want. We can start along the edge. It doesn't matter. So where I'm going to start, make sure my thread is straight, is I'm going to start here. Okay, that's where I'm going to start, is right here where we're going to put our zipper. This is how we're going to do it. And I hope you can see this. So my needle is going to go up through the bottom, and it's going to go through these little baby stitches right here. Okay, that's where it's going to go. And I'm just going to pull, and then I am going to go back down through like this, and I am going to go through this loop right here that I just made, and I'm going to pull. There we go. And that's how I'm going to do this, is I'm going to go up through like this. We're going to do this as a whip stitch. Okay? And the more you get the hang of this, so an easier way to do this is instead of going back down through here like this, okay, this is a long way of doing it, and then going back up through the back and through your, up through the back and through your stitches like this, and then back down. This is a much easier way of doing this. Okay, ready? So what you're going to do is you're going to hold your work with your fingers. Make sure you don't have something too sharp. And you're just going to go in between the stitches like this. And then you're going to go through your white stitches. Okay, and then you're going to pull up like this. See how it just almost knotted there? And that is how you're going to do your whip stitch. Okay, so I'll do that one more time. Through your stitches. If you have to pull them apart, do it. And then through your white stitches, just a little piece right here. Okay, and then back up through, and boom. And that is the easiest way to sew this, okay? And it will stand upwards like this, okay? Try not to go through too many stitches. More stitches you go through, the more this will fold. And we don't want it to fold because then on the other side up here, we are going to sew on our zipper. Yep, you guessed it. I'm going to pull that out. And I'm going to do that again for you. So I'm just going to go through some stitches like this and up through the white stitch. Just like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I am going to do this method all the way around my little purse. Okay. So it's kind of the concept that I always do say is, and if you feel it's too far away, move in a little closer. Move in a little closer if you feel, okay? If you feel like this edge is too big, cut off all your stitches, redo it again. I'm gonna leave the edge, so that way, this edge I'm gonna leave because of this smaller white yarn that we have. As for these back here, I am definitely just gonna stay, I'm definitely gonna stay right above the half double crochet. So I will be going in through the half double crochets and right up through the white yarn and then back through. So I'm going to try and stay on this half double crochet row, whereas this row I am not going to do that because I don't mind if it's a little bit further back because of my zipper. Okay, so I'm going to do, I am going to get to sewing. Be careful, your thread cannot. It's very irritating, and trying to tear it apart can take more time than you want it to, and then that means it's more time on your project. So take it nice and slow. If you don't like my method, you don't have to use it. It's just something I have learned over the years. Easier ways to sew things since we're always constantly sewing in crochet, you know? Alright, so I am be back shortly. Oh, and here comes Sonia. I was wondering when she was going to show up. So we'll put that down for a moment and we'll say hello to Sonia. Hello, Sonia. Hi, baby girl. How you doing? She's like, hi, mama. Time to take a break. So there's Sonia. Sorry if you can't see her. She's kind of in the dark. Crazy cat here. I'll move the light forward so you can kind of see her. There she is. There's my baby girl, little sweetie buns. Okay, so I'm gonna go take a break. I will be back once that is nice and sewed, and then we will start on the strap. Okay, everyone say hi, Sonia. Hi, Sonia. Oh well, of course I could have backed up my camera a while ago. Okay, everyone say hello, Sonia. She's wondering who's at the door because we're in the bedroom. Okay, see you soon, everyone. Okay, so I didn't make it all the way around, so we started here and I made it all the way around and around here, and I realized I forgot to tell you that when you get to this portion right here, what you need to be doing next. So let's get started with going around the corner. So when you're going around a corner of the half double crochet and you're coming up around to the double crochet, okay, that's where your needles are nice and handy. So you'll just put your hand right there and you'll go into the half double crochets like this. Okay, and we're doing the whip stitch. and you'll come close to the last stitch right here, but you won't be on the last stitch. You'll go into these stitches right below that last stitch in order to keep turning that corner. And then as you turn the corner and you see these stitches on the side, you won't thread into those. You'll thread into the next stitch right here, okay? So that way we still always have our ledge, is what I like to call it. So that's all I'm going to be doing, and that's how you do this side of your cookie. Is you will go into the second stitch. So you won't go into this very first stitch right here. You go into that next stitch behind it, and that's where you'll put your needle into, just like this. So for the next one, what I'll do is I'll just go right into, we're in that next stitch right there, and so I'm just trying to find some stitches around it to try and go into, just like that. And then this is your second stitch, and if you have to, you can just pull this up and see, oh, okay, that's my first stitch, this is my second stitch, and that's where I'm going to sew into. Okay, so I'm just going to finish sewing around the bag. So when you get down here to this portion and you're on your second stitch right there, okay, you'll just keep going on down the line like this, and then as you come around, you'll be able to see that half double crochet row, and you'll sew right underneath that half double crochet row right there. Okay, and that's where you'll find your stitches, and then you'll just keep going around until you get back around to here. Okay, and I'll meet you right back here, and then what we'll do is we'll sew on the second piece of our cookie, okay? And then after that we'll sew on the zipper, and then we'll get on with the strap. Okay, so I'll be back shortly. Alrighty, so I am back, and I made it all the way back around, and I have one more stitch that I need to stitch into, so I'm gonna do that real quick. Sonia's on the desk, that's why you heard that weird noise. And one more stitch right into here. Now to fasten off, once you put your needle into there, you're going to put your fingers into there, into the hole right there, okay? And then you're going to put your needle back into there, hold your fingers onto that loop, you're going to pull up, pull down, and back into that second loop one more time, and then nice and tight until you hear the click. And then I put my needle back in there, and then I pull. And you're going to grab your scissors, and you're going to cut your thread. Okay, and so at this point, what we're going to do now is you're going to take your second piece. Okay, and what I would suggest doing is making sure that your second, this piece, this part is the top, and where you see these lines are going to be on the bottom. Okay, so when you put it on the top like this, you're going to sew those lines into your bag. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pins. I really hope you guys can see this, because I am unable to see it myself. Now you're going to take your pins and you're just going to repin the top portion. Okay, all the way around, just like this. Okay, and then you're just going to, she's going to come into the camera, sorry about that. Okay, so then you're just going to pin this one, and you're just going to keep pinning it all the way around. So I'm going to pin this real quick. Here, I'll show you this piece right here. So where am I pinning it? Right underneath the half double crochet, as you can see right there. So there's the half double crochet row. I'm pinning it right underneath there. Just like this. That's the turn. And then when you turn it like this, make sure that you have your one row right there, and then you pin it on your second row. Okay, just like this. And Sonia's gonna come say hi, so we'll just say hi to her real quick, because she's gonna get into the light. And then there she is. Say hello, Sonia. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pin this all the way around. Then I'll come back and show you how to attach your needle. Then I will sew it all the way around, and then we will do the strap, and then we'll sew on the zipper. Okay, so I'll be back shortly. Alrighty, so we're back, and I made it all the way around. Now I didn't pin this because I forgot that our zipper needs to actually go in here, and we need to have some room so we can sew our zipper. So let's sew our zipper first, and then we'll sew around the bag, and then we'll do the strap. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab your zipper and figure out which side you want your opening to be. So if you want it on the left side, or if you want to turn it over and you want it on the right side, it really doesn't matter. So what I'm gonna do, and my needle is already ready for sewing, so I'm gonna put that off to the side right now. So have an opening like this, put your zipper inside like this, okay, inside of here, and have your flaps in there. And then you want to grab your pins and you want to pin that. And yes, my fingers are in there so I can hold it, make sure I'm pinning the actual zipper. As you can see, there it is. A little bit difficult to see. There you go. So it's nice and pinned, as you can see right there. And then what I'm going to do is, actually I want it a little more out. My hand's in the way, so I'm going to pin it right here. And this can be a little bit difficult, so put your zipper inside, because I'm having a little bit of difficulty here. So we'll do this first. Let's pin the zipper on the side real quick. Let's grab our pin and let's pin it right here. Okay, I think that might be a little bit easier for me, so that way I can pin the zipper. Make sure when you're filling it, it's up against, as you can see right there, it's up against your thread like this, okay? So when you pin it, you can actually poke through the zipper and poke through the yarn like that. See that? So that's how I have it pinned. Okay, so that's the zipper pinned. And then we're going to pin this section. So I'm going to stick my fingers into the white yarn so I can hold this portion of the zipper right here. I'm going to pull it out and I'm going to put it in and pin it. And there we go. So now one of the flaps is pinned, and then I'm going to pin the second flap. As you can see, I'm going to use a smaller pin, and there we go. Okay, so that one is nice and pinned. Then I'm going to move down here, and we're going to pin these flaps over here. Okay, and I know this needle is in the way. I'm going to move it. There we go. So I'm just going to put it in. Whoop, I poked myself. And then I'm just going to pin it like this on the side, so it's across. I'm going to try and do the same thing for the top. We'll use a red pin. Make sure it went through the zipper, and then there we go. Actually, we'll do it from the top here, and then we'll pin it down like that. Okay, so there we go. And then I'm going to put this pin back, because this is where I was going to sew my cookie onto the ice cream. Okay, and then the last piece that we have to pin is going to be this piece right here. I don't know why I keep grabbing the pin that's bent. Grab the different one. There we go. Okay, So we're just going to pin it right here. Make sure that when you pin it, you have a little bit of room for your white yarn, so that way you can sew it to your bag. Okay, so make sure when you're pinning it, okay, you leave a little bit of room for that white, so it's not fully on it like this. Okay, so you don't want it to look like this. You want to pull it up a little bit like this. Okay, because we still have to sew this white yarn to our brown yarn. And so I would just go down to this little row right here and into the zipper, and then pin it to the next row down right there. So that way this piece up here is nice and sticking out. And I messed up down here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin this piece real quick. Okay, there we go. And then we'll just pin it all the way down real quick. And then that looks like it's all nice and pinned, except for this piece right here. Okay, so there we go. So that is what you're pinning. That's what it's going to look like all the way around for your zipper. So remember, you're going to leave a little bit of a gap on the top, so that way you can sew this to your cookie. Okay, because if you don't, then you have a little bit of problems, but that's okay. So what we're going to do is we are going to sew this wonderful zipper onto our back. Okay, so let's get that done next. Okay, so we are back, and I've noticed something. So I noticed this little piece right here is kind of like flapping around. If you have the same thing happening to yours, I decided to cut a little bit of string, some yarn, and I'm going to sew this real quick because I know this is going to become a problem later. So I'm going to show you a real quick trick on how to sew this up real quick. So we're going to pull these needles out real quick. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up in through here, and then I'm going to go into this stitch right here. And I'm just going to pull my needle right through with this yarn. Okay, and then I'm going to go right back through one more time like this. Make sure that doesn't come through, even though it will. Okay, just like that. And then you'll pull in the two pieces like so. And then what you're going to do is you're going to tie a knot just like this. Okay? And then just cut off your pieces, and that way it should be nice and flush, just like it should be. Okay? Okay, so once you have everything nice and pinned, I'll put these back real quick. Okay, we are going to start on the very bottom here. Okay? And so go ahead and thread your needle. I didn't have my threaded. I'm actually going to grab a different needle. And the reason why is because you're going to need something a little sharper. Okay, so I have a little bit sharper needles here. Okay, so you want something much sharper to where it can actually poke through the actual zipper a lot easier than if than you having to kind of force it. See how on this one I have to kind of force it, but it still won't go through. Don't use bigger needles, go to something a little bit smaller but still has a little bit larger eye hole. This one was not working too well for me, so I'm putting it off to the side. So I'm going to thread my needle real quick. We're going to come back and I'm going to show you the in and out method for sewing this bottom part, and then also sewing the back piece right here. Okay, so I'll be back shortly. Okay, we are back. And once you have your needle threaded, we can get started. Now where we're going to start is going to be down here at the very bottom. And the reason why we're going to start down there is because this is going to be the part that's going to be the most difficult. So you just want to start with the most difficult and then do the easy part, which is on the top, because we have not sewed our cookie bar onto our ice cream, we kind of want to hold off on that. So if you need to, pull out some of your needles and kind of move your cookie bar so that way you have enough room when you're doing this. And what we're going to basically do is flip it inside out, okay? Because we're going to start on the inside here, and we're going to do something as what I call the in and out method. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew this bottom piece down here. We're going to start over here, and then we're going to come around and go around this piece and then come up and around. Okay, and I felt that would be a lot easier to show you this piece. Okay, but normally what you would do is you would start down here at the very end. Okay, you would start down here at the end and then move your way around. So the in and out method is going to be pretty easy. Okay, so we're going to go from the back. I'm just trying to make sure I have enough thread and yarn here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start in the yarn piece, okay, like this. So start in some threads like this and then poke your way through that zipper. Okay, make sure you have a sharp enough needle when you're doing this, and then you're just going to pull until you have a loop. Okay, so I have a loop right there, and I'm just going to put my needle right through that loop. Okay, and then I like to make my loops nice and straight. Okay, and there we go. And now you don't really see it on this side. Okay, so we're going to try and do the method where we're going to hide our strings. Because if you're going to be showing this to people, sometimes you kind of don't really want to show off all this thread. So we're going to go through the zipper like this. Okay, we're going to go through that zipper onto the other side, as you can see where my needle is. Whoops. Okay, so we're going to go through here like this. I'm going to move this needle because it's in the way. And then we're going to go through the yarn like this. Okay, so now that you see where we had gone through, and I'm going to poke through like this, and make sure when you're in the when your yarn is coming through, your thread is coming through, make sure it doesn't knot. Okay, so there we go. And then we're going to go back through some more stitches. I normally like to get about a couple of stitches like this. And then I like to go back through my zipper like this. And this is called what I like to call the in and out method. Okay, and what the in and out method is going to do is it's going to hide in your thread. Okay, so that's what it's going to do. It's going to hide your thread so no one sees it. And always make sure that you're looking on your back side too, because if you're not, you're going to find stuff like this where it knots. And that's not something you want as you are threading. Okay, so there we go. And then we're just going to go back through with our needle. Hopefully you can see this. So you're just going to go back through your needle and through the yarn threads like this. Okay. Make sure that this side does not get caught on anything and it doesn't knot. And you can tighten it too, so hardly anybody sees it. Okay, so this is one method that you can do. You can also go like this, go into the zipper and then try and poke your way up through like this. This is another method you can do as well. Okay, but you got to be really careful with your thread. A lot of times it will knot. So you can grab your needle like this as you're pulling and then pull down. That is another way. And then as you can see, it's nice and hidden into your work. So that is another way you can do that. So it's in and out, or it's poke through the zipper and try and poke back up through. Make sure that you have some thread in there, okay, or some yarn. And this is why it's nice to have a really nice sharp needle, because that way you can poke through both very easily. And it hides everything real nicely. Now we're getting up and around, okay? So if you give me 1 second, I am going to take a look real quick. So I'm going to go back through the back like this and poke my way through. Okay, and then I'm going to go through this yarn real quick. I'm trying to zoom in closer so you can see this. I'm going to poke my way through the back. Make sure I can see my thing come through, and then I'm also going to pull on my thread since I saw a little loop there, and then I'm going to poke my way through. So I'm going to do the in and out method. Oh, see, it gets caught on a lot of stuff. Now when this happens, you want to open your zipper. It's another thing you can do. So I'm going to open the zipper, and that way you can get your zipper out of the way. And this thread keeps getting in the way, this yarn tail, so I'm going to cut it off and just kind of get it out of the way. That's another reason why you want to sew in your yarn tails and stuff. So there we go, okay? So that's one way. So then we want to go back through. Okay, so I'm going to flip it over, and we're just going to go right back through, okay? Making sure I'm poking through. Move the needle out of the way. And this is how you will sew these side pieces to your work, okay? And we do want that gap, okay? That gap is very important. So we'll poke right through that yarn as well, if I can get my hands out of the way. Okay, and then we'll poke right back through, and we'll flip it upwards like this. Okay, and then we're going to poke through here, just like that. Flip it back around, and then I'm going to remove this since it's a little more secure. And then I'm going to find out where my thread is, and then I'm going to poke right through here. Okay, just like that. And I'm going to poke up through there. Oh, see, it got knotted. So I'm just going to pull this through and undo the knot, and then there we go. And then I'm going to turn it over. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to poke. Ooh, let me see. Okay, so yeah, we want to poke. Okay, so yeah, we're good. I just want to make sure we have enough yarn. So there we go. So now we want to go back through here. Okay, just like that. And then that way I'm going to go back through here. Now at this point, now you want to get a little bit closer to this seam right here. Okay, so that's what you want to do when you're going back and through. And you can also poke through the zipper, move it apart, and find out where your thread is or your yarn, and then poke right through, just like that. Okay, so that will be your in and out method. Very nice, very easy, super fast. Okay, and you can also go like this, where you kind of like, you see it there, and you can kind of like poke through, and you'll see, oh, okay, well, I got it through the zipper. So this is one method that you can do. When I am done sewing this piece, what I'm going to do is I will meet you over here. And if you're wondering what that is, I had sewed it originally and it didn't work out all too well, so I had to redo it. And I like this method so much nicer then I liked the other method, because this one hides your threads a little nicely, and then if you pull on it just a little tighter, you can actually see your threads. Okay, so hopefully that helps. I will meet you back down right down here where we began. Okay, so I'll meet you right back there. So just do the same thing as you do over here, where you'll do the in and out method that I just showed you right over here. Now, as you can see, our thread is starting to go around nice and easily, and it looks really nice. And flip it over, and you really can't see very much of the thread. Okay, so I'll meet you right back down here at the very beginning, and then we will sew on our chocolate cookie. Okay, be back shortly. Okay, so we are back, and we are actually nearing the very end. As you can see, I'm right there. So I'm going to go into one more stitch, just like this. Okay, and so now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to tie off. You guessed it, yep. We're going to do that wonderful tie off bit. Hold on. I need to cut off these bunny ears, so that way they don't get in my way. Okay, and so in order to tie off, you're going to go back into your zipper stitches, just like this. Okay, and you're going to put your finger in, and yeah, I cut myself on my needle. And then you're going to make a loop like this with your finger, and put your needle back through, okay, like this. Make sure you grab that new loop with your finger, pull up, pull down, go back through that loop, let go, and keep going till you kind of hear like a click. That was a thud click. So now I'm going to go right back through like this before I tie off. It's just something I like to do, I'm sure. And then you're going to cut it. Okay, and then your zipper, there we go. And now the zipper is now fully put on. Okay, and you can test it too. Make sure that, there we go. You can test it too. Make sure that it's nice and secure. Okay, just like I did on the other side, I did the in and out method. Doesn't look as good as this one over here, but that's okay. I think it still looks good. Test out your zipper, make sure it zips. Okay, and now what you're going to do is you're going to put all your pins back, since I took out a lot of my pins. I'm going to put all my pins back, and then we're going to start sewing the top. Now, sewing the top is going to be the same as sewing the bottom. Okay, it's not going to be any different. Very easy, very simple. And now that you have your zipper now put on, this will be a lot easier, because then we don't have to worry about putting on any zippers. Don't have to worry about sewing that part. Okay, I'm going to move my ball of needles out of the way. So now the only thing I'm going to do is show you how I showed you how to do the bottom. Okay, so how I did the bottom down here, I'm going to do the same thing up here. You can start wherever you like. Okay, start in any stitch, stitch all the way around until you get back around to the very beginning. Sorry, that needle stuck on me, on my hand right here. I thought that's what happened. I was like, huh? Okay, so there we go. All of it's all pinned around. And then once you're done sewing it, you can either leave it the way that it is, or you can stick around, and the very last thing we're going to do is I'm going to put some straps. We're going to start the straps right here, and I'm going to make them go all the way around. I want this more to be more of a handbag than an actual purse. Okay, because I want to actually just put a few things inside of here. So that's what your bag inside is going to look like. Okay, so we're going to put some straps on. They're going to be kind of small. They're not going to be anything big. If you'd like, you can make your straps a lot bigger. Sorry, I also poked myself on this side too. So you can make your straps a lot bigger if you'd like. Okay, so I'm gonna sew this all the way around this top piece, come back, and then what we'll do is I'm gonna connect the white yarn here, and then I'm going to sew the straps. It'll just be so much easier than having to sew it on. Then it looks like it's actually part of the actual bag. Okay, now I'll show you how to do that shortly. Alright everyone, we are back, and I actually sewed all the way around on the top one. I just have a few more stitches to do, and then we're going to move on to the strap. And just to let you know, I tried out the strap just to see how it would work out, and I think I've got something going. I'll show you in just a minute what I'm talking about. Okay. So we're just going to fasten off real quick. Okay, apologize for that. My mom was calling. So we were just getting ready to fasten off. So I'm just going to go back up through here. And then I'm going to put my finger right through this hole right here. And put my needle back through. Put my finger through the new hole. And put my needle back through, and then we're going to just tighten. There we go. And so we fastened off. And I'll show you now what I had done. So just make sure don't cut your fingers. So now we're done with the sewing portion. Okay, so your bag should be nice and sewed on. Let me just finish cutting this piece real quick. Get the bunny ears out of here. Okay, so the bag should be nice and sewed in. Okay, you're done. Everything is sewn on, the zipper, everything. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. So this will be really easy. Okay, you're gonna find some stitches onto your bag, just like I did here. I know it's a little difficult to see. You're gonna find some stitches onto your bag. Okay, and then we're just going to half double crochet across it. And I'll show you how to do that, because I thought that would be really cool. And then that all you have to do is you can half double crochet until you have the length that you need. Then it looks like it's actually part of, let me move everything out of the way, and then that way it actually looks like it's part of the bag, as you can see, and it will be able to fold upward like this. Okay, and it will look like it's part of the ice cream without actually you having to crochet something the length of your bag. I mean, you can do that and then sew the whole thing on. It's just, okay, so what you'll do is, what I ended up doing here, okay, so right where this zipper is, I counted back 1, 2, 3, and on the 4th row right here is where I tied on. Okay, and so what I ended up doing was, we're going to flip the bag. So you'll grab your 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. Okay, and then I ended up tying on to the bag, and I stuck my finger in between the bag right back here, so that way I could hold it. Okay, and what I ended up doing was I ended up tying it on to the bottom of the half double crochets right here. So if I can move these out of the way real quick. So right here, I'm going to put my crochet hook up right into here like this. Okay, and then I'm going to just grab my yarn and pull through, grab my yarn and pull through to make a chain. There is a little loop there that I had to kind of bypass. Okay, so this will be a little difficult for me. Okay, so then you'll chain 1, and then you'll go back into that same stitch for a, I did half double crochet, for a half double crochet. Okay, and then what I ended up doing was I ended up folding it. Now I put my fingers in here so that way I wasn't crocheting the whole bag together. So you see these holes right here, you're going to put your crochet hook into these holes. So I'm going to go up through here. So this is a hole right here, and that is where I'm going to crochet into. It's nice to fold it so that way you can see the holes better. So like that one we're going to go into. So that's 3. This one will be 4. And then your very last one is going to be right here on the end. And that one is going to be number 5. Okay, and then there you go. And now your yarn is going to be connected. And now at this point, if you want to, you can just chain 1, turn your bag like this. It'll be a lot easier if it's not on the table. And you can actually double crochet. I felt half double crochet was just a little easier. You can also single crochet this, you can double crochet this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to double crochet into all of the 5 stitches until I have the length that I want. And then from there, once I'm done, I'm going to put this down for just a minute. We're going to go on this side now, okay? And we're going to do the same thing that we did over on that side, and we're going to count our stitches. Now, here's the thing. Because this one's a little more on the front side, I kind of would turn it, so I would count 1, 2, and then 3 right here. Okay? And then I would kind of like turn it like this. And then what I would do is I would count 1, 2, and on this third one right here, put my fingers in there real quick. This third one right here is where I would put a needle like this. And that needle is going to let me know this is where I want my strap. Now you can go as far down as you would like to where you want your strap to be, but I'm going to put it right there. So that way, this one, when we look on the side, is going to be right there. So it's 1, 2, and then on that third one. Okay, so that'll be perfect. That's where I'm going to put my strap, and then I'll show you how to connect it. I think what we'll do is we'll connect it with single crochets. Okay, so I'm going to make a bunch of rows. When I'm done, I will tell you how many rows I made. Now remember, I'm not making a very long one. What I'm going to do is from here on this side, I'm just going to make it go around kind of like a handbag. Okay, so just something I can just put around my wrist and put into my purse. Now you can also use this as a cell phone holder as well. Okay, so I will be back shortly. Okay, we are back, and I made the strap. So this is what it looks like. I actually made it longer than I wanted. It's 71 rows. Okay, so now what we're going to do is make sure your strap isn't twisted. Okay, so make sure it's nice and straight, and put your crochet hook back onto your project. So what I ended up doing actually is doing half double crochets, 2 rows, and 2 rows of double crochet. So when I started down here at the very bottom, I did that half double crochet row, then I did 2 double crochets and 2 half. Sonia is going to come onto the desk, so you're going to see her in here. We're going to try and get this done real quick. Okay, so that's what I did for 71 rows. So now that we're here, now what we're going to do is we're going to half double crochet. I know I said I was going to single crochet. We're actually going to half double crochet. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry about that. I had to get Sonia off the desk. She was in the way and I could not get my yarn to get off of her. She couldn't get off my yarn. So I had to get her off the desk real quick. So we are going to put our half double crochets right here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull out the needle. I know I said I was going to do single crochets, but we're actually going to do half. So what you're going to do is you're going to put it in between this stitch right here. Okay, I'll move in a little closer so you can see this. So this is the row that we're going to do it on right here, and you'll fold it so you can get in between like this. Okay, oops. So we're going to yarn over, go into the stitch, grab our working yarn, pull through, and then pull through all 3, and then you're going to go into this stitch like this, yarn over, go into the next stitch over like this. I am sorry, he's going to be snoring too because it's pretty early morning. And then you're going to yarn over and go through all those loops so we can connect it. I'm going to go into this one and then go into this stitch like that, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all those loops. I know there's a lot of them. We've got 2 more. Go into this one right here. Forgot to yarn over. So that one right there, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and pull through. Last stitch right here and right here. Yarn over, go into that stitch. Hopefully you can see that. Grab your working yarn and pull through. Grab your working yarn and pull through. And that is what it will look like. Doesn't look the same as the other one, like the other one did, but that's okay. I think it'll be fine. And then what you're going to do is grab your scissors, cut, and then yarn over and pull through and tighten. Okay, so now we are, let's get the yarn and the scissors out of the way. So now we are done. So this is basically what your ice cream sandwich purse will look like. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Don't forget to scroll down, hit that like button so I know that you're enjoying this video. That's what the inside looks like. It's nice and big. Okay. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new to the channel so that way you don't ever miss one of my tutorials. And I'm going to try my best to try and get out as many tutorials as I can. I don't really have a schedule, but I'm just trying to crochet a whole bunch of stuff, and hopefully I'll get it out in a timely manner. So this one is pretty long, so it'll be more like a shoulder strap instead of an arm strap, because I was going to make it shorter like this, but I didn't like that. I wanted it to be more like a purse. And so it should be pretty sturdy so you can hold stuff in it. I hope you enjoyed the ice cream sandwich bag once again. Don't forget to scroll down, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and until next time, bye-bye everyone.